are spending a kind of a day off here at this lovely place. It's a little bit cold outside and I thought it's a good time to make a video. Last year I made this one episode about sailing Nauticat, and now I have learned more and I have tuned my boat for this season, and now things are a little bit different. So I thought that let's have a look of how things have developed, how my opinions have been impacted, and also what are kind of a special, this kind of a characteristics of an old Nauticat and when you are sailing it, and also about the Finnish archipelago, what kind of a environment it is and what it brings with you. So this episode is a collection of snapshots from the last month that I have been sailing it. So it's a springtime, we are at the end of the May currently, and I hope you like it. Now, shallow draft is kind of a two-folded thing. First of all, benefit of shallow draft is that you can get to the places like this easily. You get to the places where deep keel boats don't get into. But then the other hand of that is that because the center of weight is quite close to the or center of gravity is actually quite close to the waterline compared to the deep keel boats, then this kind of a Nauticat is kind of a sensitive for wind gusts. And what it means in practice is that when you have an even wind, it's easy to tune your sails and you go perfectly smooth. Your boat has an even angle of heel and things are just marvelous. But when you are in the environment of archipelago, where you have a gusts coming here and there, and the wind is changing the direction based on the how the coastline is shaped, then you get kind of uneven ride while sailing. And I think this is one of the reasons why you see so many Nauticats actually going with the engine when they are in the archipelago. And when they get into the more open waters and open wind, then they start to sail. And this is mainly caused by the low keel construction. And like I said, it is a benefit, but it has these disadvantages. So the stability comes from the form of the hull as well as the keel weight. And the wide kind of a heavy displacement boat, but with the shallow draft, it acts kind of like dinghy. It's unfair to say that I have an 8-ton dinghy here, but there are certain similarities. I don't need to shift my weight to counteract the gusts, but what it does is that when the gust comes, we are heeling more than a deep keel sailboat. now we came out from behind of those islands, and we have kind of an open strait in there. We just yesterday came from there. Then we get the even wind, and even that we have been sailing all the time this strait, we were here downwind, here side wind, and now we are beating because wind coming from here is actually turning towards us when it's coming from that strait. And why we are impacted more than those guys with the tall mast there is the reason that we have a short masts. So our mast is not going above the tree level, where is a fairly straight flow of wind in there. And if we would go taller up into the mast, or have a taller mast, then the wind would kind of come down also via the sail, keeping the sail shape better and pushing further. That's kind of an compromise that you have. You have this shoal draft, then you need lower masts, and it's perfect in this kind of a even winds where you have open water. But places where you have islands all around you, it can be quite laboursome to sail sometimes. Now we are coming actually to the point in the strait here that the wind is not anymore turning that way, but it's kind of coming more side wind. Then we can again let loose the sails and gain some speed, and we are doing this. And because they are coming to the other direction on this same strait in here, they have the same phenomenon, more or less. So the wind, side wind, is actually turning against them. And when we get to that edge of the strait, we are kind of broad reaching then. So now we are in the middle of the strait in here, so I could loosen up the sails quite a bit, and we actually gain more speed and heel less. Sailing in archipelago requires actually constant aiming on this type of a boat. You are so much influenced by the local wind caused by the islands. But it's nice. And now that we have bypassed this strait in here, we are kind of downwind conditions again, because the wind is coming from there, it's circulating this island and pushing us then that way. And then there's a gap between the islands, so the wind might be gushing again different directions in there. Beauty of archipelago sailing, you never know where the wind comes. But then there's one feature that wins most of the sailboats. So when you get cold out there, you can come back in here and it's nice and warm. You are protected from the wind. You don't need so much gear. I can take my jacket off. And With the heater on, you can even have a warm environment here. So there are pros and cons on this kind of a Nauticat motor sailor. We need to remember we are talking about the motor sailor. Now some of the cons are this low rig, small sails compared to the weight. Then in this old Nauticat 33, I don't know how the other boats rigging arrangement is done for the ropes point of view. I have seen winches in the front deck, and I have seen the different kind of solutions. So I think there might be like owner-made solutions mostly on those. I like the arrangement I have now, so I have two winches on the rear deck and the steering wheel in the middle of them. And what I will change still maybe this week is I put the sheets of the mainsail and the mizzen sail somehow that I can control them from that steering position. Then basically only things that I need to come to the mast is to reef and raise and lower the sail. And they are okay. They don't happen that often, but trimming is constant, so you need to, when you sail in archipelago, as you have seen, you need to let go and you tighten, and as the wind is swirling around the islands. It's easier of course in the open sea and in outer archipelago, even in here, so it's more open sea type of an environment. Then I started to talk about then one of the features I would say is that I like the secure feeling of the boat now that I have got used to it and trust it a little bit more. Especially when being indoors, you are getting kind of false sensations. You don't feel the elements so much. But when you want to feel the elements, you can be out there and steer. Be more in contact with the environment. I think that's a benefit. Both are benefits. Big engine, it's good. When there's big waves and you need to rely on the engine, it's very good. Then sailing characteristics, downwind, good. Side wind, okay. Beating to the wind. In the light weather, that's okay. It doesn't raise very high angle because of the long keel and shallow draft, but it goes up. But then when it's heavy weather, you cannot beat into the wind effectively. So the bow is so wide that it kind of stops the boat, stops the movement. It doesn't move. And that's basically relating to the waves, not the wind, but the waves. What else? Well, if you like to do the long voyages or long time, sailing long time, several days and weeks and months, like I have done, then these living arrangements are just fabulous. They work quite nice. So we have been 2 persons here and 2 dogs sometimes, and sometimes I'm sailing it alone, like most of the time, with the 2 dogs, and we get by quite well. Yeah, let's talk about later more. And then when you have these open winds, it is just so nice. We are beating a little bit. Those guys are going there. Heave boat with the spinnaker and the other boat was competing with me for a while. We stayed victorious. Well, not quite. They bypassed at the last moment, but they were going so steep to the wind and so fast that I think it was motor assisted. That's my mental masturbation about that. Now we are going to find a spot for us somewhere small, isolated, totally uninhabited island where we take this hotel with us. Now that the wind is stable when we are on the open sea, she just goes like a train and I put her to one direction and I can sit here and pet the dog a little bit and take a cup of coffee if I want to. We are actually quite close to our destination, what I decided. It's an isolated island where I haven't been before. But it looks like it's providing good protection for this wind. So we go to check it out at least. Now that we are out here in more open, it's really nice, and also doggies like it because we are kind of stable. Of course we go a little bit up and down and sway, but we don't have that kind of sudden movements like those wind gusts are causing. Sudden healing. Now there's the gap where we are going to dive in, but there's a long shallow coming from that island this way, and I need to find the right place to turn. There should be a humble and a few sticks in there. Let's see when I notice it. We are going to see the sunrise.